Good day, Junior Chefs, and welcome back to Cook 003 Sandwich Preparation Virtual Kitchen. Our topic for today is about the culinary techniques intended for the preparation of sandwich. Culinary arts, in which culinary means related to cooking, are the cuisine arts of food preparation, cooking, and presentation of food, usually in the form of meals. People working in this field, especially in establishments such as restaurants, are commonly called chefs or cooks. Although, at its most general, the terms culinary artist and culinarian are also used. Table manners, or the table arts, are sometimes referred to as a culinary art. Expert chefs are required to have knowledge of food science, nutrition, and diet, and are responsible for preparing meals that are as pleasing to the eyes as they are to the palate. After restaurants, their primary places of work include delicatessens and relatively large institutions such as hotels and hospitals. So, are you ready to know the basic culinary techniques necessary for the preparation of sandwiches? Just sit back and relax and feel the vibe of our virtual kitchen. For the outcomes of learning, at the end of this lecture, each of you are expected to differentiate the different techniques used in making and preparing sandwiches. Also perform the different basic techniques in preparing sandwiches properly and appropriately. Also in this lesson, you will learn the different skills needed in preparing sandwiches. Developing such skills is needed to be able to produce sandwiches in a commercial scale. When these techniques are properly used, preparing sandwiches will be fast and easy. There are several terms, techniques, and cooking methods students should be familiar with prior to working in a professional kitchen. This presentation introduces students to topics such as different cooking methods which can be referenced in a recipe. But don't forget, when it comes to handling food, you not only need top quality ingredients and equipment, but also should be able to practice and maintain proper safety and hygienic practices. It contributes to the efficiency of workflow in the kitchen and also assures the workers that what they will prepare will be appreciated by the diners and customers. Our first basic technique is spreading. It is a spreading of the bread with the required spread. When cooking in a commercial kitchen, make sure that you use required spread of the kitchen. It adds flavor to the sandwiches and also prevents the bread from being soggy when it contains ingredients that are full of moisture. In making large quantities of sandwiches, you can spread out the slices on the food preparation surface and apply spread using a palette knife. Apply spread on side or end of the bread. Using a spatula, spread the feeding or spread in one direction until all surface of the bread is covered. A spread is a food that is spread, generally with a knife, onto foods such as bread and crackers. Spreads are added to food to enhance the flavor or texture of the food, which may be considered bland without it. A sandwich spread is a spreadable condiment used in a sandwich in addition to more solid ingredients. Butter, mayonnaise, prepared mustard, and ketchup are typical sandwich spreads. along with their variants such as Thousand Island dressing, tartar sauce, and Russian dressing. Spreads are different from dips, such as salsa, which are generally not applied to spread onto food, but have food dip into them instead. Common spreads include dairy spreads such as cheeses, creams, and butters, although the term butter is broadly applied to many spreads. Margarines, honey, plant-derived spreads such as jams, jellies, and hummus. Yeast spreads such as Vegemite and Marmite, and meat-based spreads such as pate. The second basic technique is layering. Layering is the stacking of the sandwich with the requested fillings. You should make sure that the same types of sandwiches are layered the same way every time. You should only use the designated amount of fillings and make sure that the filling remains within the sandwich. The cheese and the deli meat should go next to the bread to stop the juicy vegetables and making the bread soggy. Here are the basic steps on how to make a layered sandwich. Get all the items out to make your sandwich. You get 2 pieces of bread. You put mayonnaise and mustard on it. Put cheese on the bread. Put 2 or more pieces of meat on the sandwich. Add lettuce and or tomatoes to your sandwich. And after you are done making the sandwich, get you something cold to drink and enjoy your sandwich. The third basic technique is piping. Piping is the application of spread of some form into the loaded sandwich. The piped sauce or condiment becomes part of the overall appeal of the sandwich. You can use a piping bag to control the amount of sauce or spread and to make sure that not too much is put in. This technique allows the spread to be even across the loaded ingredients. Do not forget that you should do the piping process after all the ingredients have been loaded. Piping application is common on Danish or open Danish style, which piped sauce or condiment becomes part of the visual appeal. The third basic technique is molding. Molding refers to the process of cutting and the method of cutting the sandwiches into different shapes and sizes. It is usually used in wrap sandwiches. For these sandwiches, you can use a knife to cut the sandwich into smaller pieces or use a cookie cutter to produce different shapes. For wraps, make sure that the filling is enough that the sandwich can be easily molded into shape. Although molding is not common in the preparation of sandwiches, it refers more accurately to cutting and is the process of cutting sandwiches into shapes. For example, for children's parties and special events. Molding is used a lot with wraps. Wraps do not make good function food as they need to be wrapped in paper to hold them together. Wraps are common in Eastern Mediterranean countries like Greece, Lebanon, Israel, and North African countries where flatbreads are commonplace. The last basic technique is cutting. Cutting is the process of cutting the prepared sandwiches, like cutting the crust off for some sandwiches for presentation purposes. Normally, sandwiches are cut into fingers, halves, and quarters. For halves and quarters, the shape accepted is triangle, but people may request square or rectangular shapes. 2-point sandwich is one that has been cut diagonally into 2 triangles. 4-point sandwich is one that has been cut diagonally into 4 triangles. It is important that you are precise when it comes to cutting sandwiches. Poor cutting may ruin the appeal of a supposedly attractive sandwich. Make sure that you cut the sandwiches all the way through and it is all of the same sizes. Sandwiches are a very important essence in the food world and come in different varieties. You can have them for breakfast, lunch, or even dinner. As long as you have 2 pieces of bread, you can do and eat anything. Even vegetarians love sandwiches, and people have turned sandwiches into an art. So there you have it. Thank you so much for your time. If you do have any questions about this topic, kindly send me a message at my official Facebook account, Kirk Gavilo Ibardolasa, and I will always have time to answer all your concerns. See you again next time. Bon appetit!
Happy learning at home with lessons made easy by Olivarian GoTeach. One proud Olivarian.